ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिहरसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिधि नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते। तप्तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। You have to make the co-host so that the slides also.
I sent message.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Can you make Prabhuji's co-host? Ramabhadra Priya Prabhu. He wants to see a slide. You try, maybe you can share.
Hare Krishna. I will do that.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So welcome this morning for the value class. This is for the Bhakti Vaibhav students or the Bhakti Shila?
Bhakti Shirodam, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta.
Oh, for all this group.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. I never knew about it. I thought the class is there and that is for the Bhakti Shastri.
That is Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Pravesh, Bhakti Sadhana.
Okay, interesting. So I've been told to speak on a very important topic, which is confidentiality. It's a very deep and profound topic, I would say, and I will take this in three parts. Basically, first, let's understand what is the meaning from the dictionary perspective, what is confidentiality. And then we will go into the Shastric reference of what confidentiality actually means. And Krishna uses this term, confidentiality, or confidential. And the Sanskrit term is for this, Guhyam. So we will look into that and some of the misconceptions with respect to this confidential knowledge, that also while referring to the Shastric reference we will see. Then the most important aspect of confidentiality is the practical application of it. So this is based on nectar of instructions, text 4, Guhyam Akhyati Prishti. And in this, we will be more dealing with the practical aspects of confidentiality. And this is a very, I can say, a very sensitive area. And I'll be revealing some confidential things in this area. And, you have to first understand the subject. And then gradually, digest it. So, there are many aspects, and we cannot, we don't have the time to go into each of the finer aspects, because each aspect will require a very deep discussion, churning, So I'll be just touching upon it. I'll give a higher principle how this happens, confidentiality, how it works in the spiritual world, and how it should actually work within the spiritual institute of ISKCON. And most of the problems in the society are because of this. So that's why I said we cannot go into it in detail. Time doesn't permit us. But I'll just touch upon a few things as a general principles. That is what you can take home. And how to do it practically also we will touch upon it a little bit. And then, what is actually confidentiality? Confidentiality means actually revealing our heart. And whom will you reveal your heart to? Someone whom you what? Trust. So in the end, we will look into, we will see Krishna also practices confidentiality. Krishna also practices confidentiality, and Krishna is going to reveal his heart to us. Interesting? So what is Krishna revealing his heart to us? So that we'll see is the most confidential aspect. Krishna is revealing his love to us, and that's also part of confidential knowledge. Okay? So that is in the end you see. Okay? I hope you are able to see the slides. So the dictionary meaning of confidentiality is discretion in keeping secret information. Now there is a difference between confidentiality and secrecy. So we'll come to that a little later. But this is what the dictionary means. And confidentiality is a state of being secret. And today in the whole communication world, you must respect the confidentiality of a client's communication. So even in your, email you get, Google says that, all your this will be kept confidential. When you make a call, the call center will tell that, whatever the conversation will be kept confidential, it will not be disclosed like that. So it's a buzzword in the outside world now, because that's very important, confidentiality. So this is how the dictionary meaning is. However, there is a very deep and profound import, a Shastric import to it. But the definition, this is again a definition, not exactly a Shastric definition, but within the pursuit of spirituality. Confidentiality means responsibly protecting information that has been entrusted to us and not sharing it unnecessarily. So it means that whatever information is shared to us, we have to protect that information. But it doesn't mean that you cannot share. You can share, but you should not share it unnecessarily. We'll come to this when we go to the practical application. So it includes not revealing personal information casually, not spreading private conversations, not sharing another person's weakness or struggles as gossip, using discretion in service. So again we'll go to the practical application of this. Sharing sensitive information only with appropriate people who genuinely need to know. Please don't take any pictures of the slides. We will share the slides. Okay? When you are hearing confidential information, you should only keep your ears open. Okay? So, these are the few things. Now let's go into the Shastric reference of what confidentiality means. And Krishna speaks about it first time. Where in the Bhagavad Gita? Anyone knows? Raise your hands. Yes, Mukesh.
Ninth chapter.
Ninth chapter.
Rajavidya Rajaguhyam.
Rajvidya Rajvidya. Second verse. Before that.
Idam te tu te bhuyatamam.
Idam te tu guhyatamam. He says, guhyatamam. I reveal now the most confidential knowledge. Krishna is revealing his heart, which is very dear to his heart, that is pure devotion. That is 9th chapter, which is and that's why he glorifies that pure devotion. And Raj Vidya and Raj Gurya. And then Krishna is the most heavy in the entire Bhagavad Gita in 913. If you read the purport, it is very shaking for us. It will shake our whole foundation in bhakti. 9.3. Ashraddha dharma purusha dharmasyasya paratapa. Aprapya mam nivartante mrityu sarvasara. One who doesn't have faith in what? Not bhakti. In this pure devotion service which he is going to reveal. Dharmasya refers to ananya bhakti there. One who doesn't have faith in it, he will go back in the cycle of birth and Krishna says. Very heavy it is, which you see. And Prabhupada's purport is also very heavy. So please read that purport and carefully try to understand what Prabhupada is saying in that purport. Okay? Because just to discuss that purport, it will take 1 hour for us. And we have only 1 hour for understanding what is confidentiality. So I'm just speaking this verse. Shri Bhagavan Vacha idam tu te bhuyatamam prabhakshami anusuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yad vyatva mokshase ashubhat. So guhyatamam, the most confidential knowledge. So Krishna is now revealing his heart to Arjuna because Arjuna is very dear. And the second reason is Arjuna doesn't envy Krishna. Because you are anusuyave. Because Krishna is going to extol his glories. And because Krishna is extolling his own glories, hearing that, envy might come. And this is the adhikar required to understand what? Ananya Bhakti. You have to be completely free from envy. That's why I am going to reveal to you these things. So this is the first time Krishna uses the word Guhya. And here he says Guhya Tamam, the most confidential knowledge. Now, there is confidential knowledge, there is more confidential knowledge, and there is most confidential knowledge. So the confidential knowledge refers to Sankhya. The 2nd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, you are not this body, you are a spirit, soul. So this kind of preaching of the Bhagavad Gita, which Prabhupada himself did in 1966, in the Master's Gift, his evening discourses every day were on the Bhagavad Gita, right? So this kind of knowledge should be given. But the finer aspects of bhakti, the deeper aspects of bhakti, especially Ananya Bhakti, should be gradually be brought up. And the more confidential knowledge is chapters 7 and 8 of the Bhagavad Gita. That is considered as more confidential knowledge. And the most confidential knowledge is what Krishna is going to reveal in the 9th chapter. So that's why Krishna is using the term Guhya Tam. Now, interestingly, I spoke about something in the beginning of the class that, when we reveal confiding means we confide what is in our heart, right? So, there has to be a patra whom we confide to, right? There has to be a patra. And patra has to have a qualification. So Krishna in the 10th chapter he says that whomever you confide your heart, what do you expect?
Guidance.
Pardon?
Some guidance also.
Guidance, yeah, that's an expectation, but apart from that, what do you expect?
Trust. They will not
They
give
will
the
not
information
share
to
with
us.
you.
Yes, the most important thing is that they will not share with anyone else. This is the first criteria you have actually. Guidance is secondary, you know. So that person has to have this vibhuti as what Krishna has that vibhuti. So that's why I was speaking about the adhikar, patra. And we'll go into a little more detail when we go to the practicalities of confidentiality. He should possess the vibhuti which is similar to Krishna. To whom you are revealing. He should have the same quality as Krishna. And the ideal character is the character of Lord Ram. Anyone could come and share his heart to Lord Ram, and Lord Ram would keep that as a secret. So for that, you should have the vibhuti of what Krishna says, Maunam Chayavasmi Guyanam. Again the term Guya has come here. That silence, I am silence of the secrets. Of the secret things, I am silence. So that means you should maintain silence and you should not speak out to others. And that requires potency. For the patra person to also hold it and digest it and not reveal it. And I mentioned also, if you remember, it can be spoken, but in what circumstances? That's also a different discussion which we will have in the later discussions. Okay? So of secret things and silence. And in the purport to this, yesterday we were discussing in the letter of instruction class, among the confidential activities, the Prabhupada is saying, hearing is what? Confidential activity. Interesting. Sometimes, if you want to hear some secrets, you open your ears and hear, right? And very attentive hearing, very attentive while hearing. And especially if there is some gossip about you and others are doing, you're more attentive, right? Yeah. So, hearing is a confidential activity. Please remember that. And that's why while hearing, you should be very careful that your attention is fully focused on hearing. Okay. So, among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking is also a confidential activity. Maunam and meditation. Meditation is also a confidential activity. So I told that we will be first discussing how this is practiced in the spiritual world and how it should be practiced in the institution. Okay? And there are a lot of issues and problems within the practice in the institution. That's because the culture. It is a matter of culture. So I'm just bringing out one point here. Thinking and meditating. For a Kumari, I hope you understand what does a Kumari mean. What is Kumari?
Unmarried.
Unmarried, chaste. Okay? If she has fallen in love with someone whom she would like to marry, that she is meditating upon. Okay? So she can reveal that to whom? Her parents. And especially her grandparents. Because grandparents are more experienced in life. Parents, they have a different relationship. So in the Vedic culture, generally the grandparents are experienced and they have a very intimate relationship with the grandparents, the grandchildren. Us and him, us and
Krishna.
Krishna and the spiritual master. Okay? So among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking and meditating, silence is the most important because by silence one can make progress very quickly. So this is a vibhuti of the Lord. So I was explaining this in the context of the Patra, that he is, have you observed that when you start speaking to something you want to share, what is the Patra of the person who is hearing you? What is the Patra? What is the qualification of that person?
Compassion.
Yeah, that is definitely true. He has to have compassion. But another important Patra is what?
Whether he'll be able to understand it and keep it to himself.
That is, that we spoke to
My
him.
relationship with him.
Yes, relationship, yes, that is also important.
Just now you told he must have qualities like Lord Krishna.
Yes, that also I told, but another point is here.
He is interested in listening or not.
Whether it is listening, okay, that you can understand by his demeanor only.
Mature.
Yeah, maturity, correct. But the most important thing is that he silently hears without speaking. And generally you have to test whether such person has a Patra. I'll come to that practical application a little later. When I said, when we discuss the actual verse on confidentiality. So, you have to be a silent listener, an empathetic listener, and you don't speak, you just hear. Generally what happens, when you start hearing and you don't have that patratana, you start processing that information with your intelligence. And you want to analyze and give your inputs. But somebody who is possessing this vibhuti, he just silently hears. Again, we'll go deeper into the adhikar of the person because this is a big problem in the material world and in the spiritual institute. Okay? So we'll go into that a little more detail. Now, I'm coming to this last two verses after the most confidential knowledge Krishna speaks in 18.65 and 66. Sarvadharman Parityaja Manmana Bhava Manbhakta. Krishna says, Idam ta na patakshaya na bhaktaya kadachina na cha shushashave vacham na me ma yo abhyuyati. This confidential knowledge, idam, this, may never be explained to those who are not austere. Atapakshaya, one who are not austere. Na bhaktaya, one who is not a devotee. And shushushve, one who is not engaged in devotional service. And one also who is one who envies. So this verse is also a little misunderstood. If you see whom we all preach, they are not having any austerity, they are not devotees who are we are preaching, and they are what? Engaged in devotional service. We want to engage them in devotional service, and then everyone is filled with envy. And even devotees are filled with envy. Only the degree is a little less, that's it. Yes.
Can we ask questions?
No, I'll just finish because we have a short time and we'll take up questions. If you can make a mental note or you can note it and then we'll take up. Generally, I usually like to take particular themes and then have discussions, but this is not the forum. Okay, so Prabhupada in the 112 purport, Dharma projita karitavo paramo nirmatsaranam satam. Nirmatsaranam, Prabhupada translates in the word-to-word meaning. What does he translate? Word-to-word meaning? Please go back and open your Bhagavatam book and see what Prabhupada translates. One who is 100% pure in heart, he says. How much?
100%.
100% pure in heart. He is a pure devotee. He is free from answer. So I was mentioning this point that everyone is enemies in the material world, and devotees who are also in the devotional service, to a certain degree, we are free from envy. Certain degree. So when Krishna is speaking this confidential knowledge, he is referring to only that confidential knowledge which he has spoken in the last two verses of the Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna is revealing, Bhakti Yoga, Ananya Bhakti Yoga, and in Ananya Bhakti also he has spoken in the middle 6 chapters, and then he has spoken also about the glory of Bhakti in the last 6 chapters, where actually he's dealing with Jnana section of the Bhagavad Gita. But within that, when he's summarizing in the 18th chapter, he summarizes Karma Yoga, he summarizes Jnana Yoga, he summarizes Bhakti Yoga also, and then he goes into the most confidential Bhakti Yoga, which is, even in Ananya Bhakti Yoga, he goes into the most confidential aspects. So this knowledge, with the process of surrender, which begins in 2.7, Arjuna surrenders, Shishyasteham Shadi Tvam Prapanna. Then this surrender culminates in 18.66. And from here, Bhakti begins. Ananya Bhakti or Shuddha Bhakti begins. So that is why Krishna could also not speak more in detail of this most confidential knowledge, which is Braj Bhakti. Because he was speaking on the battlefield. So Krishna also could not reveal his heart. Right? There's a problem with the internet connection. Even that, otherwise, I did not get my download. So I hope devotees are able to hear them online.
Should I?
Yeah. So that confidential knowledge of Ananya Bhakti, which Krishna wanted to share, he could not share. And Arjuna also was not the patra for it, for that information. He shared with whom? Uddhav in the 11th canto. He shared with Uddhav. So that is why if you want to understand Shuddha Bhakti, you have to study the 11th canto. Okay? You have to study the 11th canto. Yeah, the password. And then in the next verse, Krishna says, but you have the wire so that there is no problem with the net connection.
It is there, wire, but if we remove that, then they will know.
Okay. So I hope you are able to get this point that Krishna, when he says idam refers to?
It's confidential. It's confidential.
No, only the last two verses, 65 and 66. And specifically it refers to Uddhav Gita. Okay? And then he says, I'm not recording it here. You are recording it.
It is not letting you record. So you are recording this cloud. You start recording. That's right.
Recording in progress.
Thank you.
Confidential knowledge cannot be shared by recording. Also. And then Krishna, in the next verse, he says whom it can be shared to. Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshu abhidhyasyati bhakti mayi param kritva mam evashati asamshaya. For one who explains this supreme secret to the devotees. Now again when it refers to the supreme secret, it is referring to again 65 and 66 verse about Ananya Bhakti. And to the devotees means those who have adhikar now to practice Shuddha Bhakti. And everyone has adhikar, those who have come to the practice of Bhakti. Pure devotional service is guaranteed, Krishna says. So the more you speak about pure devotional service, you will attain first pure devotional service. And at the end, he will come back to me. Hare Krishna. Oh, okay, that was yes. Now, is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. So, when we take up to Bhakti, Prabhupada in 1965, he just started. You are not this body, you are the spirit soul. And then he slowly introduced the chanting. Then he slowly introduced the four regulative principles. And that way he spoke about the four regulative principles after initiating the disciples. Then he put the notice outside. So like that, gradually, systematically. So as devotees take up the practice of Krishna consciousness and start understanding the philosophy, at what time one should start understanding about Shuddha Bhakti, there is also a time. And one has to understand the patra and present the topics. Okay? So that's what Krishna is trying to say here. And then I'm giving one reference of what is the result. Sut Goswami is glorified by the sages of Naimisharanya that you are Saumya. Saumya means one who is pure and simple. Who is simple? One who is pure. Simple. Right? And who is simple?
Who is pure?
One who has no material desire. Is simple. Who is complicated? One who has many material desires. So this is his qualification. And tattvatas tat anugrahat. You have attained the mercy of the Lord, of your spiritual master. Because when Sut was sitting somewhere in the assembly, Sukadeva Goswami called him, come and sit near. Because he wanted him to hear. And he was sitting right next to Sukadeva Goswami in hearing. That's why when you want to give confidential knowledge, like in a family, there are many children, and one of the child is very subservient to the father, very obedient. So the father gives confidential secret about the wealth of the family so that he knows he is responsible. He will carry on the tradition. So that information he will speak secretly and he is close to him. So that's why Sut Goswami was sitting close to Sukadeva Goswami in that assembly. And you have to identify where is Sut Goswami sitting in that picture. Okay? And then, Bhuvistighnasya Shishyasya Guruvo Guhyam Apyata. And that's why your spiritual master has revealed the secret of this confidential knowledge. That's what. And now, the second aspect, or the last aspect, not the second, the third aspect which I spoke, that how confidentially has to be practiced in ISKCON. And the principle is given by Rupa Goswami in the Upadesh Amrit. Okay. Let's recite this. Dadati prati grinati guhyam akhyati prijjati bhunde bhojate chaiva shadvidam priti lakshanam. So, dadati pratigranati. Dadati means to give in charity. Pratigranati means to access in return. Guhyam akhyati prijjati. Guhyam akhyati prijjati means confidential topics are explained and inquired. So Prabhupada gives a very interesting definition of what is Guhyam Akyati Prachati. Let's look into it. And then Bhunte Bhojate Shaiva. So Shadvida Priti Lakshana. Now this Priti or love, when we have love for the Lord, that love reflects in our exchange with devotees. And the loving exchanges are only these 6. Dadati Pratigranati. Giving in charity and also accepting that. So when you give something in charity, you do it out of what? Love. And the second aspect is the most important and which we will be discussing in detail, which is Guhyam Akyati Prachati. So that we'll discuss in detail. Bhunte Bhojate Chaiva. Whom will you invite someone to have prasadam? Whom you love, right? And serving. So that's what is Bhunte Bhojate Chaiva. Again, we will not go into it. A lot of details are there in this purport, but we just stick to that confidentiality. Okay? So Prabhupada mentions how to perform devotional service in the association of devotees. Prabhupada explains. He says this verse Rupa Goswami explains. And these are civil loving exchanges. So Prabhupada gives a very interesting definition of Guhyam Akyati Prachati. He says, an experienced devotee explains. Prabhupada doesn't say, Kanishta explains or Madhyam explains or Uttama. Experienced devotee explains and an inexperienced devotee learns from him. And Prabhupada says, this is Guhyam Akyati Prachati. So this Guhyam Akyati Prachati is to be done at different levels. Now when we go to another Sankirtan, we are actually doing Guhyam Akyati Prachati. We are giving the holy name to others. And we should create a favorable atmosphere, our behavior should be favorable, and seeing that others, the audience, the people out, should be having a favorable attitude towards us by which they accept in charity what we are giving. That is the holy name. Are you getting this point? This is Guhyam Akyati Prachati. So this is what has to be done. Now, there is a second level of Guhyam Akyati Prachati which we are speaking is we hear the spiritual topics of Gita and Bhagavatam. This is Guhyam Akyati Prachati also. But at a deeper level, the real problem which we are going to discuss is that when we hear, we have certain issues or crises within us or something which we would like to ask the speaker, but we would not like to ask in open forum. So that's why at the end of the class some devotees say, I want to come and speak. This is also Guhyam Akyati Prachati. And at a deeper level, it is with the Mahabhagavat or the Siksha or the Diksha Guru. And we'll come to that more in detail now. We would like to reveal our heart to him as to what we are going through, or even ask about confidential topics. Now generally it is observed the Guhyam Akyati Prachati, revealing one's mind, is basically with respect to all our struggles in spiritual life. It is not about the confidential topics of bhakti. Nobody has such deep questions. Generally, it is seen. So with respect to that, now let us come to how this happens in the spiritual world and how it is to be implemented in ISKCON. Okay? So this is more practical now, practical aspects. Now let us try to understand. So the 6 loving exchanges, the gopis have love for Krishna. They don't reveal it openly to anyone. The gopis are good citizens of Nanda's village, they pay taxes and they do their duties also. So externally, nobody in Nandagram knows that the gopis are in love with Krishna. Externally they behave, they do their duties, of churning the butter, selling them in the market, and they pay the taxes, to Nand Maharaj. Similarly, we must properly act in the institution ISKCON. Give respect, follow instructions, but if there are problems, we take institutional action. We take what? Institutional action. Now, what is the most confidential knowledge I said in the beginning? Rajbhakti. I did not speak about the confidential knowledge at all. I only defined what is confidential in Bhagavad Gita. Guhyam. But what is the most confidential knowledge?
18.65.
18.65 and 66. Okay, tell me which is the most confidential knowledge. Where is confidential knowledge spoken in the Bhagavad Gita? Which chapter? Ninth chapter. The ninth chapter is titled as Prabhupada titled as the most confidential knowledge. Now tell me, which is the most confidential knowledge?
In the ninth.
Yeah, in the ninth chapter. 9.34. No. If you know this one verse, you are successful.
Prabhuji, there is a verse in that is Raja Vidya, Raja Guru.
Not that verse. Not that one. Which is the most confidential knowledge. If you know this one verse, yes. Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasthito hi sa. If you can just understand this one verse, you have passed in spiritual life and you will attain success. Now what is this most confidential knowledge? Again, we cannot go into details of it. We have just 10 minutes and I'm still going to the practicalities. How much time more we have?
9 o'clock.
Till 9 o'clock we can, but then question and answers we have to leave some time, 5-10 minutes. Yeah, okay. So I'm just sharing the tip of the iceberg of this most confidential knowledge, which is 9.3031. We'll not go into what all the acharyas speak about it. I'm just sharing one point. If a devotee who is practicing devotional service and while practicing even for many years, suddenly he slips or he falls or he commits a sinful activity, Krishna is saying what? Most abominable activity. Api chet sudurachara. Krishna says sadhureva samantavya. He is a sadhu. My goodness, very heavy. We as devotees, we know this devotee maybe when he took up to devotional service. And maybe he has revealed his previous conditionings, what kind of habits he had before coming to Krishna Consciousness. So we don't know his entire life of this life. We don't know his previous lives. We don't know what is going to happen for him in the future life. Who knows? Krishna knows. And how Krishna is purifying him, that also we don't know. So when he commits a sin, he is going through a crisis. And if he reveals to someone, or people come to know about it, we think he has committed what?
Offense.
No.
Mistake.
Sin. He has committed a sin. But if we see fault in him, we commit a what? Offense. So that is why confidentiality is very important. This is the most confidential knowledge. So we don't know what is really happening in his heart. Who knows? He knows to some degree and Krishna knows. So why comment about it? And why discuss in forums and and send emails and spread it all across. So we'll come to that practical aspects. So, in one sense, spiritually, he's actually getting purified and actually advancing more towards Krishna. But from an institutional point, there have to be certain things so that the institute functions properly. So the institutional action has to be taken. And that requires maturity of the authorities who have Shastric knowledge. Otherwise, too much extreme action can also be detrimental to his life also. So I cannot go into many examples which I practically know and which I've dealt, institutional. So we cannot go into it. So this is one thing. So the gopis have love for Krishna, but they are very good citizens, and nobody knows this. And they follow all the rules. So similarly, we should be like that. The gopis have their circle of friends to whom they reveal their mind. So even in the spiritual world, there is Goyam Akati Prachati, the gopis reveal their minds. And here, we should have our friends in ISKCON whom we can reveal our mind. Otherwise, we cannot make progress. If somebody is not doing Goyam Akati Prachati, we just cannot make any progress. And just by seeing that person, sometimes advanced devotees can understand whether he is doing Goyam Akati Prachati, yes or no. And if he is not doing, he is like a stunted person. He just doesn't move ahead in spiritual life. Each gopi has an individual personal relationship with Krishna. Now I did not speak. We should have friends. Yeah, I spoke. ISKCON is a society of friends before it is an institution. Now how did we all come into ISKCON? Do you know that? Maybe you don't know. I'll have to remind you all. Did we see the society and come? No. We saw the person. Devotees. And that personality whom we got attracted. But we forget. We start more identifying with the society over a period of time. So that is why ISKCON is a society of friends. Each gopi has an individual personal relationship with Krishna. Similarly, we should have our own individual direct experience of Srila Prabhupada. He knows what we are doing and we know what he wants of us. This is, the position of Srila Prabhupada. Everyone can have a very unique relationship with Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada uniquely understands each and everyone's heart and reciprocate accordingly. And Prabhupada was doing this even when he was present on this planet. And that's why, there are amazing pastimes, they are very humorous, but again time doesn't permit us. I'll just narrate one. You know how that Prabhupada, when he was in the Matchless Gift 5th Avenue, he had his room. And from the room, he used to come down and come in the Vyasasana and sit and give a class, right? And Prabhupada, sometimes there in summer, he used to wear his only chadar, right? You have seen those pictures. So Prabhupada had his inner, shoes or slippers, what he used to wear, okay? And then from there, he used to use in the room, he used to leave them, and he used to wear another slipper, and from there he used to come down, leave them here, and then go down to the hall, and then give a class, and then wear the slippers, come back, remove them, and wear the inner slippers in the room, and then. So after a devotee for some time,
Recording in progress.
every time this happens, we do something about it, otherwise it's a distraction. So, one devotee, I think it is Mukunda Goswami, he wanted the Mahaprasad sleepers of Srila Prabhupada, which he was inside. And what he did, he saw the company and the brand and the number. And when Prabhupada came down, he went immediately up and he changed the sleepers and he took the sleepers and kept. And Prabhupada, after the class, he put a sleeper on, he went up and then he put his leg in the new sleepers and he walked and then Prabhupada did not know who had done it, right? Prabhupada did not understand that, the sleepers had changed, although it was the same brand. Next day Prabhupada told Mukunda, you cannot take the spiritual master sleepers without his permission. How did Prabhupada come to know? Because he's in direct communion with Krishna. Similarly, if you read 10.11, please read 10.11. Prabhupada says, even if the disciple is not able to get help from the institute or a spiritual master also, he can get directly instructions from Krishna. Krishna will directly reciprocate, he says. Prabhupada is saying that. And Prabhupada also will directly reciprocate. So one should have what? His own individual direct experience with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada knows what we are doing and he knows what he wants us to do. Okay? So this is the standard. Now let's come to the practicalities. This is the last aspect. Now so why is confidentiality is important to be maintained? Because devotees often share what? Personal struggles, spiritual challenges, family matters, service-related concerns, and personal and financial information. Now, among all these categories, spiritual challenge is okay. Service-related concerns is also okay. But the real trouble for the patra, one who's hearing, is the personal struggles when he hears, family matters, and financial struggles. And especially when it comes to financial struggles, there is always what? Pardon? Judgment, no. Judgment, yes, but generally with financial, some dealings, there is always strain and the relationships break and there's struggle with even your finance and even in your spiritual life. I've been in the legal field for the last 24 years and I know some of the devotees who are at loggerheads with respect to financial matters. And they go on for many years. So these are again, at a higher level, we cannot have that perspective, vision of a Mahabharata to see these things. Because devotees who are in the moment sometimes are Kanishta and that's why the fight continues. Okay? So again, we cannot go into these details, but generally, the personal struggles and the family matters. Because generally these which we are battling with. And when we speak, I was mentioning the qualification of the Patra. You have to see, actually when you trust him and you speak, and because he doesn't have the Patrata to hold it, he will what? Speak to others. And when you come to know, you're more disgusted. Right? Yes or no?
Yes.
And another aspect is that the person who's hearing and hearing from so many devotees, his counselees, he will have troubles in spiritual life. Because he doesn't, or he has to have the purity to absorb it and digest it and just like Agastya Muni, he killed 2 demons. Who were these demons? Vatapi and one more name, I don't know, these 2 brothers, Vatapi and Ulvi, I think. Ulu and Vatapi. Have you heard about this or no? Ulu and Vatapi.
I heard
Yes, these Ulu and Vatapi were demons. And they used to enter into the prana, in the food, and in the stomach they used to go and burst out and kill the person, the sage. But when Agastya Muni took the food, he was so powerful that he killed the demons by his, vata, by farting.
This is mentioned in Ramayana, Prabhu?
It's mentioned in the Ramayana, yes. So whatever you hear, if you don't have the spiritual purity to digest it, to handle it, we saw the qualifications a little bit, we won't go into detail. You will speak to others and thereby you will break the confidentiality, the secrecy, and the person will lose trust in you. And all the more, while you are practicing your spiritual life, these things which are not your problems will become your problems and you have to deal with it. So these are some of the things, When someone shares such information, it will be because they trust us. We should not misuse that trust. One devotee told me that he's been practicing for the last 15 years Krishna Consciousness, and he's been attending Mangalarti every day for 15 years. He's a very big industrialist. And he told me that he did not know these things, how things work. He said that, something confidential he revealed to one of the senior devotees in the management. And it doesn't mean that somebody who is in position and, somebody is having some authority, they have these qualifications. So he spoke, and within next day, devotees came to know. And he came to know. How did they come to know? Because I had spoken to this devotee. Right? So the confidentiality was broken. So he could not trust anyone in the devotee community. He lost his trust in the practice. But then later on he found a friend whom he could trust. And that's where the progress begins. As we mentioned, if you want to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, it's only by Uyam Atyakati. So this is the point I just want to make. Now the second thing is, confidentiality is not secrecy, as I was mentioning to you. There is an important difference. Confidentiality is protecting information entrusted to us responsibly. Secrecy is hiding information, sometimes even when disclosure is necessary. So I'll just give you one example to make it very clear. I have to share this example so that the point is clear, but of course I'm not sharing names. So there was one devotee leader, he had certain crises. And that's why, the temple authorities, a highly matured devotee, handled it very, very carefully. Very carefully. He's a sannyasi, and you can understand. Very carefully, and in fact you can just see with what level of culture, what level of sensitivity, what level of deep gravity he handled it. Amazing. And it was such a crisis, but he just, although I'm very close to him, he just spoke about it to me only once. Only just once. And that too when? I was just shaving his head. Do you know about this? I said, yes, Maharaj. That's it. Nothing more discussion. And sometimes we devotees, when such events happen, we leave our chanting. And in the morning, Mangalarti hours, we are discussing, do you know? We do gossip about it. And we go for hours together. And what does Rupa Goswami says? Atyahara prayasa prajalpo niyamagra jana sangasya lolyam shadvir bhakti vinashati. He doesn't say nashati, he says vishesh rupena nashati. So, now I am coming to secrecy. So I never discussed about that topic to anyone. But the information spread everywhere in the country. I'm speaking of India at least. So this is how, Now, with respect to some issue in the GBC, one of the GBC leaders called me and he wanted an opinion about it, about this devotee, because there is some leadership position. So that time I cannot hide that confidential information. I have to reveal it. Because it's a right patra there and it is necessary for the institution as a action. Are you getting this point?
Yes.
And only it is revealed to the right person because it is not. So like that, still it is confidential. Are you getting this point?
Yes.
So this is how confidentiality is not also a secrecy. Now the Vaishnava principle. We should be careful about discussing the faults and weaknesses of devotees. The Srimad Bhagavatam teaches us to cultivate a mood of respect and avoid unnecessary criticism. Before sharing information, we can ask, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it important to share? Is it necessary now? Is it kindness? Think. So think before you share. If the answer is no, it may be better not to share it. I'll share all the slides. Okay? Nothing is confidential. So, Maitreya is revealing a very confidential secret to Vidura. He is speaking a fault of our Sampradaya-Acharya. Who is he? Brahma. How Brahma once followed his own daughter, Vak. And this event has happened in some other kalpa. And Maitreya is speaking to Vidura in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And while Maitreya is speaking, he is speaking to us. He is not finding any fault with Brahma, please remember. And Brahma is also enacting this pastime to teach us conditioned souls that if Brahma can come under this way of lust, what to speak of us on this earthly plane. Brahmalok, Satyalok, Brahma is sitting. Brahma's body is composed of intelligence completely. Buddhi Tattva. So that is why constructive criticism is different. But criticism because of finding fault. So Maitreya is not finding fault with Brahma, but in order to teach lessons. So that is why please don't speak faults of devotees. If we don't have the heart to help him, if we don't understand his heart, and we don't interact with him, we don't know, and we just speak about it, we end up criticizing Vaishnavas. And this is a vast topic of Vaishnava Ninda, and which we discussed almost 2 days in the seminar on what is Vaishnava Ninda. So this is a very important Vaishnava principle. Now the practical examples. A devotee tells about you, about a personal struggle. Do not share it casually with other devotees. You receive confidential information in a service role. Share it only with those who genuinely need to know. Only those who are related to the service, they should know it, so you can share it. You hear a rumor about devotees' false slip in spiritual life, do not spread it, verify facts and avoid gossip. And someone reveals that they or another person is in serious danger. Confidentiality should not prevent seeking appropriate help. You should give appropriate help also. Just because it's a confidential knowledge revealed, you should share it with someone who can help them. Okay, so these are things. Now, the last aspect is some important considerations. Find the right person to share. Now, I was mentioning right from the beginning the Patrata, very exalted quality. Yes? And who fits in this category? I said,
Krishna.
Lord Ram.
Lord Ram.
Krishna, Lord Ram.
No, no.
Lord Ram. Lord Ram's pastimes are quite different compared to Krishna's pastimes. So that's why Krishna is not right, is Lord Ram. Anyone could go to Lord Ram and speak his heart. And Lord Ram would hold it confidential. And Lord Ram could handle it. Because he is Lord Ram. So, you have to find the right person. Now I am giving some very, very practical tips because as I told you that this is a real problem in the society. And if you want to make advancement, this is the only way also. It's a double-edged sword. So we have to find at different levels. At our level, we should have peers and friends whom we can reveal our heart, who can maintain confidentiality. At a little higher level, who are our spiritual mentors. The spiritual mentors is not sometimes a mentor who is assigned to you. Spiritual mentors means whose teachings you are inspired to progress in Krishna consciousness. We can reveal certain level of confidentiality to this. And at the highest level, it is our Diksha and Shiksha Gurus, where we reveal even more deeper confidential aspects. So we should have all these levels. And then, if we share with someone something which is very confidential, and he shares with others, what happens? What happens?
Destruction.
Trust.
Trust
There's a
breaks.
breach of trust, right? So, whose mistake it is? Tell me, raise your hands. Whose mistake it is? Yes.
Us.
Why it is our mistake?
We have
Did
not.
not see the path.
We did not test him first. We did not test him. So generally what we do, we blame. But the blame is on us. So you need to test. And how do you test? You have to test in steps. You have to give one small information and see how he handles it. And then step by step you have to build on that friendship. Okay? And then only over a period of time. So it takes time to build relationships. You have to invest that quality time. And if you have such one friend in Krishna consciousness, guaranteed success. Just one friend. How much? One friend. And this has to be again in 3 different levels as I mentioned. Now I am sharing something which I had to do. There was a very important crisis, a very crucial crisis going on in one of the centers. It was a very, very deep crisis. And I was in Govardhan doing my bhajan. Doing my bhajan, I was chanting early morning, 2 o'clock. And I got an intuition that this person has the solution to this crisis. He's a devotee. He's a very elevated devotee. I knew him from 2012. But yet, my intuition gave me the answer. But still I had to test. Although I knew him very closely, we had very good friendship, but for 1 week I spent time, I did not discuss the actual crisis, but for 1 week I just checked the field, how it is. Then I had to speak because there was a real crisis and we had to resolve it. And for 2 hours, how many? For 2 hours he heard me without speaking a word. I'm not going to reveal anything much more than that. And we got the solution. And I had to speak to the spiritual authority that I know that someone has a solution. I have to take Guru Sadhu Shastra. Although my intuition has said that this person is the right person who's going to get a solution, but still I have to check. And then we got the solution very quickly. So you need to test. So if you are sharing with someone and if you don't test and you don't work on it and things go wrong, who is to be blamed? Ourselves. So this is one thing I wanted to speak about. Then, before you share, test the field and move carefully. I am giving an example of a cricket match. The field, the bowler has to test how solid is the pitch. Without testing, he balls and then he'll be depressed. Without testing the field you share, instead of mitigating the problem gets aggravated. Your consciousness goes down. Yes or no? Now, what happened? One of the sannyasis, Prabhupada disciple, gave up his sannyas, gave up the danda, and he wrote a letter to Prabhupada and he left. And that temple president was shocked getting this information and he just passed on to the other temple presidents. Prabhupada was so wild and furious. He said it was business between me and him. Why did he get involved? Now there is no chance that he is going to come back. So how important it is. No? Prabhupada was dealing, and I'm just going to share something. This is a more psychological aspect. Every letter Prabhupada's replying is there in the Vedapis, yes or no? But do you know the letters written by the disciples to Prabhupada? They are not there. Because that is confidential knowledge. That is confidential knowledge. They were discussing their struggles in those letters. So those letters are not available. And Ravindra Swarup Prabhu was also initiating spiritual master. In one of the temples of Prabhupada's room, happened to come across those letters. And he read those letters. And Ravindra Swarup Prabhu says that he had a headache for 1 week. Just hearing the problems of the devotees. He had a headache for 1 week. And then he was imagining what is the consciousness of Prabhupada. Not only the headaches of the devotees, managing the entire International Society of Krishna Consciousness, 108 temples, traveling all over the world, giving lectures. So the patrata of that person.
That is about 70.
And that to about 70. So that is why I said the quality has to be of quality Lord Ram. So this is, you have to test. And the next is, mentors, advanced devotees should be highly trained. Do not spread it, verify facts and avoid gossip. So I know many cases, actually somebody who is a counselor has to be a highly advanced devotee. Because when you hear, if you cannot digest it, then you will get affected. I am giving you some examples and which are in reality happening even in the society also. In the Western world, especially in America, the biggest problems are what? Psychological problems. Yes? Every 8 out of 10 has psychological issues. And the highest profession is psychiatry there. And psychologists they are consultant psychologists for your kind of information.
Yes.
And generally these people, they out of stress and going through all these issues, they take help of psychiatrists. Okay? And especially there are abuse cases, rape cases, they want to confide and they go. But when they confide to the psychiatrist, they also get exploited. And it has been noted fact and evidence. Yes or no?
Yes.
No, let's not make a comment so soon. Okay? Because they cannot handle it and they get affected. Similarly, a counselor, when they hear, maximum they can handle is 5 devotees, not more than that. 5 families. Maximum, not more than that. And when you hear, you can't process it. Because if you start processing it, it starts getting registered inside. So you should be so pure-hearted to handle it. So the best way, they have to be trained in the science, and only experts can deal with it. So I'm just giving you from an astrological point of view, this understanding, so that you can understand what is the spiritual principle. So there are expert astrologers who study the Yajurveda and the Jyotish Shastra. And then they study for 8 years Yajurveda, 8 years astrology, Jyotish Shastra. And in fact, if you ask just one question, just by the question, they can set the planetary position of your chart and they can just start revealing everything about you. You will be shocked how this person knows. They'll start revealing everything, your entire file. And you can imagine if they are dealing with all these karmas of these people, the whole day they are discussing all this and they're finding solutions to this. These are brahmanas. I'm speaking of very advanced brahmanas who do their sadhana. But in the end of the night, they would never sleep. But they go to sleep easily. Why? Because one is they don't register in their heart these things. Otherwise they would never sleep. So similarly, when you hear these things, actually the sound vibration enters and starts processing, and it affects our spiritual life, our sleep also. Yes or no?
Yes.
So that's why only advanced devotees can handle. So there are many things which have to be trained, especially, I'm just giving you 1 or 2 hints. Oh, time is up, I forgot. 1 or 2 hints is that actually, whatever is shared now, these advanced devotees should actually confide it to the deities so that they let out that information. And they should have very serious spiritual practices. In fact, they should take a bath also, especially a salt water bath. If you are going through negativity, just take a salt water bath. I mean, salt water means not Tata salt, ocean salt. Okay? Ocean salt. So confidentiality, when we go through, crisis in life, whether it is problems or spiritual problems, we have to first actually confide to the Lord. Come before the deities and confide and seek guidance so that the Lord can guide and direct to a proper path. Because we cannot directly get solutions from the Lord. Lord cannot directly interact with us. He can, but we are not at that level of consciousness. So that is why these different levels are required among peers, among spiritual mentors and advanced devotees. And even the advanced devotees also should know their Patrata. Jayadvaita Maharaj in one class here made a point, relevant point. Why sometimes the spiritual masters have trouble even in their spiritual life? Because they are constantly hearing the problems of the disciples. Right? So Jayadvaita Maharaj is making a point, so we have to be careful about it. And I'm giving just another understanding which is called as mass psychology. Mass psychology really works well. Suppose in this group, we maintain confidentiality in this group, that whatever is spoken here, we don't speak it outside. And everyone starts sharing the crisis they are going through. The health crisis, the spiritual crisis, the crisis, distress of the mind. And when you actually confidentially reveal, especially health crisis, let's take only the health crisis. When you hear other health crises, you will feel, my problem is much better, Krishna, I am blessed. And you start praying for them. So in one sense, what happens is, you have shared your problem, you have maintained the confidentiality, and this my psychology helps, in dealing that one-to-one thing, which can cause troubles. So like that, there are forums where we should have this kind of a setup. And today I was mentioning that because we are not living in a Vedic culture, and we are all coming out from the outside world. So all these crises are there, and that's why the institute is like a pure Ganga, and it cannot be contaminated. But we get our contaminated consciousness, and that's why there are so many issues. So that's why we need to understand all this. And again, this is a vast topic, and time doesn't permit us. But if you give me just 5 more minutes, can you tolerate me? Huh? I'm going to share how Krishna is sharing his heart to us. Krishna is revealing his heart to us. Krishna is doing Uyam-Akati-Pratiti with us in this most confidential knowledge. So let us understand this verse. This is VIHE commentary. Let's recite this verse once and then we'll go to the Prabhupada. Manmana bhavamad bhakto Adhyaji mam namaskuru Mam eva shasi satyam te Pratijane priyosmi Krishna is telling his devotee, the jiva, that he loves us. Because confidentiality means what? Revelation. Revelation means revealing our heart. And revealing our heart means that is love. So what Krishna says? The phrase Bhava Bhakto means being my devotee, think of me. The Lord says this to exclude other possibilities. He does not mean be a jnani, be a yogi and meditate on me. So this is Bhava Bhakto. Or the phrase Manmana can mean give your mind as a gift to me. Krishna is saying what? Give your mind as a gift to me. So, whom do you give gift? Whom you love. Now, what is the principle when you give a gift? What is the principle when you give a gift to someone? Do you know the principle?
Affection.
No. What is the Siddhanta? That once you give a gift to something, once you give a gift, he can do anything. So Sri Krishna is asking our mind as a gift. Shyam Sundar, give your mind to me. Who? To me. Who is Shyam Sundar? The moon-like face with shining locks of hair and beautiful eyebrows, raining nectar in the form of glances and sweet mercy. And then Bhava Bhakta can mean and give your senses such as the ears to me. That means give your all Jnanendriyas. Perform worship of me. Bhava Bhakta, using all the senses with services such as hearing, chanting, seeing my murti, cleansing, anointing my temple, picking flowers, offering garlands, ornaments, umbrella and charmer. That means engage all your Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas. And then the Lord says, give me objects such as gandha, flowers, incense, lamp and naivedya. Be my worshipper. Perform my worship. That means all the sense objects which are dear to our heart, we give them. That is it, what it means to give gift to Krishna. And then the Lord says, just give me respect. Mam Namaskuru, falling on the ground with the whole body, offer respect by touching the body to the ground with 8 limbs. Ashtanga. And of these four, thinking of me with the mind, serving me with the senses, worshipping me with the items, and offering respects to me with the whole body, do all of them or any of them, you will attain me. Mam eva eshasi. Make an offering your mind, your senses, or the items of worship unto me, and I make an oath to you. Now, Krishna is making a promise, Satyam Te. I will give myself to you. Krishna will give himself to you. That means surrender your body, mind, senses, everything. And then Krishna will give himself to us. The word Satyam implies something of which there is no doubt, according to Amar Satyam means an oath and truth. Krishna is making an oath here that I will give myself to you. Well, the people born in the land of Mathura make such oaths in every sentence. That is true. In that case, under oath, Pratijane, I declare you are dear to me. No one cheats a person dear to himself. So we cannot cheat Krishna. Krishna said, you will come to me. Another way of saying this is, I will give myself to you. Only when Krishna gives himself to us, then we will go to Krishna. Here is the reference of Krishna promising to return to Braj. So Braj Bhakti is hinted here. Thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Devotee Vaishnava ki Jai. Can we take questions? Do you have any questions?
The last slide it was written that anyone, either all or anyone, you will come to me. Second last.
Of these who are thinking of me with the mind, serving me with the senses, worshipping me with the items, and offering me respects to me with the whole body. Do all of them or any of them? We cannot just escape and find a shortcut. Now, it is referring to what? When you give your mind, that means you give your heart. Your heart to Krishna. And among the different limbs of bhakti, there can be archanam. You are attracted to worshipping the deity. So you can be only doing deity worship. That's why, Mam Namaskuru, where it is referred. Or you can be doing only what? Bhajan, which will be offering the mind in meditation to Krishna. So like that it is. Okay? Is it clear? Yes, Mukherjee.
Just a small question.
It depends on your
Yeah.
I also have a
So my question is that I have a mentor, and she helped me with my initiation when I came to a spiritual life. She helped me, and as an online bhakti Vriksha, I also do some preaching. So I am supposed to guide all the people who are coming and getting attracted to it, Krishna Consciousness, to her. But since 2 years, I'm seeing that mentor is a bit judging sannyasis. So I'm just confused that if I can tell someone to go to her, then would it be a karma on me? That because I don't think that guidance is very much bona fide. So what should I do in this case?
So as I mentioned in the class, that there are certain questions which are not more philosophical in nature, but they require kind of a, personal tailor-made answers, right? And a generic answer cannot be given in a public forum. So you will have to, when you have this kind of a feeling, you will have to journal it first and have a clear understanding of the problem issue. And then you will have to actually, if it is about a mentor who's at an intermediate level, and that is about another, spiritual master or a mentor who is at a little higher level, on that level, and it is with respect to these issues. So the etiquette would be that you will have to take guidance from another personality who is on that higher level.
I'm doing it.
Yeah. So you will have to take that, and based on Guru Sadhu Shastra, you have to understand, and come to a right consensus. And then appropriately deal with the issue so that both the intermediate level and the highest level is balanced and it is protected. Is it clear or no? I'm just giving a general principle here.
But I'm not comfortable sharing my mentor that I'm taking from someone else. who is-
That's maintaining confidentiality actually. In one sense, that is maintaining confidentiality. Is it clear? Yeah.
A little bit.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions online? Any questions do you have? Yes, Mataji.
So, this searching out the confidential person who you
Yes.
want to share with. The question is that sometimes you identify somebody who is the servant of the Guru, or who is very close to the Guru, or say very close to the temple president. So the question is that, but at the same time, you don't want them to share. They have a tendency to speak. Definitely, they talk to the Guru or to the temple president. So you're also scared to talk to this person because they will reveal. So how do you deal with this as a person, as that person who is a servant and as the person who is asking? How do you deal?
Let me, I just lost a little.
So I suppose I'm identifying somebody as a confidential person that I would like to deal with, someone senior. And this person is either a secretary to the president or is the servant to the master, to the spiritual master. And
you don't want them to also know it.
I don't want them to talk to that person, the
And
Guru
know
or
about
the
it.
temple president,
Yes.
because I don't want the temple president to know how bad I am or the Guru to know that I am so bad. But I am saying that this person is fitting the.
Then in that case, how the principle is Sangha Sanjayate Kama. Now, our, relationship is not linear, it is triangular. There are senses, sense objects. You want the sense object, but if you have another friend, an alcoholic doesn't go alone to drink. He has another Sangat, let's go and drink. I'm just giving this example just to make it clear. Then you go for the sense object. So because of that Sangha, it will happen. So you will have to find someone then where that confidentiality can maintain.
Because once you're scared, you're not able to.
Once you
are having that fear that this
Yeah.
person will share.
then the fear will act as a boundary then. Then that will not allow you to grow from within.
So that's not possible.
Yeah, it is difficult, but it again depends. You have to test the waters and see, and then try with something which is very simple.
We tested and it failed.
Then you have to set the boundaries then. Okay. So I thought this question is related to finding and right mentor. So Prabhupada, I'm just sharing this here. One who has little faith in Bhagavad Gita should learn Bhagavad Gita from a devotee, Prabhupada says, because Krishna says that only a devotee can understand. And that's why Prabhupada says one should learn from Bhagavad Gita from a devotee. And he says this is faith. But then Prabhupada says, when one searches for a devotee and fortunately gets a devotee's association, then Prabhupada says one actually begins to study and understand Bhagavad Gita. So that is what in the beginning of our practices we hear from devotees and we make progress. But actually if you want to make progress, actually you want to understand, you have to what? Search. And you should be fortunate. So there are different levels of Brahmande Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jiv Guru Krishna Prasade Paye. So at different levels you have to, that's why do the center. And that's why you have to pray to the deities, pray to the spiritual master, and they will direct. Pray to Srila Prabhupada, we have a direct relationship. Yes.
And if this person turned out to be my direct, what do you say, HOD or supervisor?
Now that's what, there are two things which we always mix up. One is our spiritual line of authority and one is our service authority. And sometimes we confuse our service authority to be our spiritual mentors. And there are a lot of subtleties in this, and time doesn't permit us again to go into this. This whole thing comes in the pastime of Priya Vrat.
So can they ever be the same? Because this
No,
person seems
it
to
depends. It depends. Generally, we have to have the right discrimination. It depends. And there are many factors in it. So we have to get the right understanding. Okay?
You said one thing, that to make a decision like this is very, very difficult. So it's to take
Which decision?
to select the mentor, the right person, the path. So as you said that take shelter of Srila Prabhupada,
Yes.
God. So when they direct you to somebody, so
That time also you should test them. That time also you have to test them. Narottam Das Thakur, directly in the dream, Mahaprabhu came and told, go and take shelter of Loknath Goswami. And then in Vrindavana, Mahaprabhu told Loknath Goswami, Narottam Das Thakur is given initiation. When they met, Loknath Goswami did not accept him as a disciple. He tested him for 2 years.
In spite of Chaitanya.
In spite of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's what I mentioned. When you get even the intuition.
This is not our gift.
No, it is not avagya. Even you get the intuition, still you should go follow Guru Sadhana Shastra. So that entire book, Prema Vilas, devotees should read this book, Prema Vilas. It is written by Nityananda Das. It is the life story of Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamanand Pandit and Srinivas Acharya. Everything was getting revealed to them, what next is going to happen, but still, they were following the directions of Guru and Shastra. This is the realm which we want to be in when we are in ISKCON. But, there are practicalities which we have to deal with, and I just spoke about some practicalities. So I gave the personal example that I had to discuss a crisis, a huge crisis, but I had to test, and though I knew him for 14 years, and though he had that caliber, but still I had to test for a week and I could not do more because I had to deal with the crisis quickly. But it worked out well. And now the relationship is very deep. Because I can discuss, I know that the confidentiality will be maintained. So like that, if you have one friend, you're done in Krishna Consciousness. Okay? So you have to actually, pray deeply, meditate. And when you're ready, you need not search. The spiritual master will come. Or who is required? Krishna will say. We have to have that faith also. Okay? Yes, Mataji.
The Mataji asked the question and you mentioned about the Priya Maharaj. So I just would like to know how that pastime.
Oh, we cannot go into the details. It's a very elaborate discussion there.
I have one more question. On one slide, you mentioned about the Shukadeva Goswami asking Sutta Goswami to come. So where is that verse number? I didn't see the number.
Anugrahat, just one line is mentioned, Anugrahat. So that is there in 118 of the Bhagavatam. And Sutta himself speaks in the first canto, third chapter, verse 42 or 43. He speaks that I learned this Bhagavatam from my spiritual master Sukadeva Goswami, and out of his compassion he spoke, and I will speak yada aditam yada ati, based on my understanding, or based of the consciousness of Sukadeva Goswami, what is revealed to me.
This is in third canto?
This first canto, third chapter. I think 41, 42, 43, 44, any of these purposes. The whole parampara speaks there. Yeah.
One final question. In the verse that you mentioned about the qualifications of a patra, there is a one word called shushurusha, which means eagerness, right? Generally in Sanskrit.
But
But in
generally in
Prabhupada,
Sanskrit-
it means eagerness, one who is eager to hear. But in Prabhupada, in that context, he translated it as a person who is engaged in a devotional service,
Correct.
right? So what is the significance of that translation, sir? Why Prabhupada said it instead of eagerness, why he said like this?
So you have to understand in Sanskrit, no? Every word, although it is the same word, the meaning will change based on context.
Context.
Shushushu Shraddha Dhanasya there means eagerness to hear.
Eagerness to hear. Yeah.
Okay? But here Shushushu means person who is having that patrika, he is attentively hearing you. And it doesn't, he is not judgmental. See, one of the problems we face is, if I reveal this to him, he'll be judgmental about me.
Yeah.
What will he think about me? If he's not judgmental, then it gives so much of solace to us, right? So that is the qualification here. So Shushushu has another meaning there. So the meanings change in the context. Sanskrit is very dynamic.
Yes.
Okay?
And whenever we talk about the intimate pastimes, confidential pastimes of Krishna, that also we should be keep it as Gurya. Not with every devotee we should share the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna, especially about the intimate pastimes, that we should not discuss among the neophyte devotees. That is also the maintaining confidentiality, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, most important, before you discuss the intimate pastimes,
Yeah, we should see.
we should first understand Krishna's pastimes with the Srishti Lila, second and third canto, and fifth canto.
Yeah,
Because these are pastimes with Yoga Mahamaya,
yeah.
Maya Shakti. Are we able to understand this? If we are able to understand this, then only we can go ahead in the Bhagavatam and come to the ninth canto. And by the time you come to the ninth canto, you are a self-realized soul. And then only you can enter the 10th canto. And entering the 10th canto, you are already having the patrika of Anat Nivriti being happened. Then you are qualified to hear these pastimes. And for such a person, Krishna speaks that he will attain prema. So that is why Prabhupada never gave talks on this. Have you heard any lectures of Prabhupada?
Yes, in Metros Devotion, Prabhupada gave in Vrindavana also, and Prabhupada, when Prabhupada disciples was asking, let's hear some pastimes, then Prabhupada still spoke about the Atma Tattva, which is the
Yes.
basis. So he never
So, but having said that, when very elevated devotees and sannyasis give classes, we should, as a mark of respect with other, hear this because it is for our purification. Otherwise, we should read Krishna book.
Generally in Vaidik Diksha also, Prabhuji, when in Vaidik Diksha, not in Vaishnava Diksha, like they give this Upanayana Sanskar, and in the Sanskar also they Guru will chant to the ear. It is also confidential. Diksha is also confidential between Guru and disciple. And you said, Prabhuji, like we should not reveal our deeds. Why is that so?
Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells in Bhajan Rahasya.
Okay. We
And
should
Sanatana Goswami also tells in his works. We should not even reveal our spiritual master.
Right. It should be a very
And one should not reveal about his bhajan also.
Yeah, what we are doing in our yes.
Somebody, after chanting 16 rounds, he says that I have chanted 16 rounds. Whatever is chanted, all will go as waste.
Yeah. So sometimes people report in the group chanted this.
That is very much important. It's very important in the beginning stages to make step-by-step progress.
Okay, so from now on we can not reveal.
No, but you have to understand both aspects. That's why don't take home whatever is very favorable. It is important in the beginning stages that they do all this.
Until we are not enough.
No, not really like that. Until you advance in your consciousness and you understand these things, and then you implement it for yourselves. Okay? So then you understand it, So as you get elevated, then how these things reveal to you, and then accordingly you will have to adapt to those systems. Okay?
One
It's,
person,
it's not just a system-based thing. It is building on consciousness.
one person we can report if we are doing something.
Yes, that is confidentiality.
But
That's
not
confidential.
general.
Yes, that again we can do general also, but it is to inspire them, and we report to our person just to take feedback. So like that, many aspects are there. You have to understand based on again time, place, and circumstances. Everything has to be alerted and presented. Okay.
Sadhana card is one of the aspects of the courses.
That's what I mentioned. It is very important. Even I am also writing my sadhana card. I am reporting to my friend. To just check so that he keeps a check on me. This kind of accountability is very important. Very, very important. Okay? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Sanatana Koti Vaishnava ki jai.